Hello. I'm sorry I don't have another cool sign like yesterday, but this is day two of the 30 days of trans for me, and it's about my family, or what family is to me, and things like that. So I'm going to say that in the beginning of my transition, just this little bit, um, my family was more than unhappy. I remember our conversations were just hours and hours of yelling on the phone, um, and not much more. And at the time, we were living 5.5 hours apart, so I didn't even see them that much. And when my mom found out, I mean, it was just a phone call, here and there, and it was really dramatic. I remember some pretty awful things happening, things that I really didn't want to hear from my family, words and that I really could have used their support, and it was just a really difficult time. And I never thought that I we would have made up after that. For probably about for a good 4 or 5 months, we didn't talk at all, no communication whatsoever. It was also a really, really bad point in my life, a lot of other ways too. And that's my parents, and I mean my brother and we still don't talk. I'd like to, but since he is in prison, it's kind of a difficult situation where visiting might cause problems, and even writing, it's not the same as actually sitting down and seeing him and having that conversation with him in an environment where you don't have 100 people looking at you. So that's a little tough. But with my parents, I've been back here probably a good 9 months now, living with them, and even a little bit before that, I've noticed a complete turnaround in the way that they like treat me, the way they understand me. And it's very obvious to me that even though they were very upset before, it's a reaction that I understand, of course. Now, from their perspective, they felt like they were losing someone, and they felt like that person had died, really, and they thought that they had done something, or it was an insult to them, or how what would people think of them. And then, in my point, I didn't understand this at the time, and I just didn't understand why it wasn't easy for them. And I had to take a step back a little bit, and I think giving space was a very good idea. Now, like the little things make me happy, like my mom saying my name or referencing me, my dad, like anybody using my name, my family. It took so long to get to that point, and for them to be proud of me and to be interested in the things that I'm doing, like interested in my drag performances and my pageants, and talking to me about them, and having a conversation with my mom about surgery and what's involved with it, having them interested in my life, uh, because it's my life, um, is really unbelievable. Going from not wanting to talk to me and thinking that there's something completely fucked up, and then being completely supportive, and I just can't believe it's a complete 180, and I never thought that my parents would get past that point. Like, I'm really choked up about it right now, obviously, because I still can't believe what's happened, and it just makes me think that given enough time and enough persistence, not pushiness, let's say, just enough persistence and trying to understand, you can really, really affect people, really change their minds, and just by being who you are, you don't have to go out on a crazy limb. You just have to exist and be yourself, and people will understand that you're not a freak. That trans people are real people too. It's happened with my family. It's happened with people at work, friends I've made, I think, a huge difference in the way people understand what it means. For a lot of people, I'm the first trans person they've ever met, and I try to keep that in mind. And there are still a couple things, people don't get, and they never will, and that's okay. Um, but getting back to my family and the word family too, I think it's something different for me. And I mean, for a lot of trans people, people of the queer community, we know that family is much more than blood relatives, because a lot of us never get past that point with our families where the fighting never ends, and some people don't have biological family, and that doesn't mean that they're any less than what they do have, and they do have is a very strong community behind them. I have a lot of people who I've performed drag with who I consider my family, and my brothers and my sisters, and they're just as close to me. They're truly my brothers. It's not just something I say. It means something to me, and family is definitely what you make of it, regardless of what a lot of people are trying to tell you. I know that being trans, having a family, it may never happen the way that I envisioned it when I was a kid. The little white picket fence, having a couple of kids and a dog. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I'd love to say in the next couple of years I'm gonna fall in love and live happily ever after and have a few kids that are mine, but the likelihood of that happening is very low, and it's hard to see people starting families my age, and falling into that life that everybody seems to want, or at least that I've wanted. I shouldn't say that everybody does. And realizing that it's not that easy for me, even dating itself, it's a little complicated. So family, it's really, for me, it's one of the most important things. I've been, as I said, back here with my parents for about 9 months, and I realized how much I missed my family and how important they always have been for me. So much to the point where it's becoming difficult to say, is it worth it to leave to take a shot on something that I'm not even sure is going to work out? I'd like to know for sure that I have an idea of where I'm going, and they're important to me, and I don't want to lose what time I have. My nephew especially, he's 7 years old, and he's one of the most beautiful people I've ever met. Like me, he has Asperger's, and I get to see him, a couple times a month, really. But that's something that I was missing out on before too. But I don't know. I didn't give up on my family. Even though there was some time apart, I always had some idea in the back of my mind that things would be okay. But maybe it was a 1% chance. When it happened, it completely shocked me that little by little they really started to see past what everybody else thought and look at me and see me as a person. And I know that they love me and that they want me to be happy. And they see how happy I am now compared to before with myself. I mean, there are things in my life, obviously, I'm not happy about. But I think they know in their hearts that this was the right choice for me, the choice to transition fully. And it's changed their minds on a lot of things. There's some things, of course, I'll never change their minds on, but that's okay. And even in our differences, and even in the differences I have with friends of mine, I love them. And feeling truly accepted and being able to be as weird as I want or strange as I want, and my parents still loving me, my friends still loving me. That's what family is to me, and I never thought I would have found it in a lot of the places I did, outside of my home and in it. It just gives me a lot of hope for my brother when he comes home, if he does. But it's one of those things I'm still scared about, because my brother's always been my best friend, or had been, It's been years since we've talked. He's like a piece of my life that I feel like is missing. And so, again, it's getting over 10 minutes I see here, and had a couple drinks tonight, went bowling, so probably should stop, because I'm not going to remember fully what I said. But again, day 2 is a video about your family, or what family means to you, anything involving that word. And I'm looking forward again to seeing what you guys have to say. And I will see you tomorrow with day 3, which is about sexuality, mine, or how I feel about it in general. So, take care, guys, and have a good night.